So hello guys and welcome to episode 11 of our Manor Racing save. Now I apologise there was no video last week. It was a very, very difficult week for me personally with my little pet Ollie passing away unfortunately. So we didn't have a video last week, but we are back with this week's video. So just to bring you up to date with everything really, we are making some improvements on the facility side, on the marketing spec, getting the sponsor regulations up, meaning we can get better acclaim for the team. Obviously more money, better sponsors means we can improve the car at a greater rate. Standings wise, last time out, if we just have a look at the results, it was Checo Perez who won in Belgium, Max Verstappen finishing P2 and Lewis Hamilton in P3. We finished a very respectable 9th place at Belgium after a very, very difficult weekend. Indeed, the weather was not kind to us. Hopefully it'll be a bit better in Italy this weekend. But standings wise, Max Verstappen is leading the way on 210 points from his teammate Checo Perez in P2, Lewis Hamilton's in P3 and George Russell P4. It's Red Bull from Mercedes, and that shows in the constructors as well, but Mercedes are 84 points behind. We are just about holding on to P7, but could we possibly finish in P6 by the end of this episode? Hopefully we can, but Ollie Caldwell really could do with helping us. He hasn't so far this season, and unfortunately I believe he will be leaving us at the end of this season. So there's nothing really left for me to tell you guys. It's going to take me a little bit of getting back into. That's what the practice sessions are for, and I'll see you at the end of qualifying for the Italian Grand Prix in Monza. Right then guys, so the grid is as follows. We didn't get the intro, we had a bit of a malfunction with the computer. So George Russell is on pole, Sergio Perez in P2, Hamilton is on the second row with Charles Leclerc, Max Verstappen all the way down in P5, Sainz P6, Gasly P7, Alonso, Ocon and Piastri make up the top 10. We are down in P16, very close to Ollie Caldwell who had a better qualifying. We didn't have the best. So it's going to be interesting to see what we can do from here. If we have a look at the strategy, we are going to start on the medium, then go on to the hard compound tyre. We are going to go for the one-stop strategy, hopefully undercut a little bit on the hard compound. The soft compound tyre does absolutely melt around here, so that's what we're going to go for. Our race engineer wants top 10. Let's see if we can do it. Let's get to 5 red lights. So here we are then, Italian Grand Prix in Monza, ready to go. 5 red lights, decent hold, and away we go. And straight away we're going to ride on board with us as Lando Norris gets a shocking start off the line, and we managed to get a position early. We're going to look to the inside. Can we get down this inside line? We're going to take it nice and easy into turn 1. We've got the 2 Alfa Romeos in front of us. We chuck it down the inside of Alexander Albon, keep it inside line, give him plenty of room, and then get on the power as quickly as we possibly can into P13. So we've made up a few positions off the line as we have a look at the front, and it's Lewis Hamilton who's leading away at this moment in time from George Russell. Coming in to turn 3 now in turn 4. George Russell and Checo Perez in P3. Charles Leclerc for the Scuderia Ferrari. They'll be hoping for a win here today at their home Grand Prix. Then Max Verstappen comes in P5. Alonso P6. Gasly P7. Sainz P8. Ocon P9. Bottas in P10. As you see us in P14 running a little bit wide there. We have lost the position to Alexander Albon, and he's a little bit further up the road, and now we are under pressure from Lance Stroll, who's attacking us down the inside. Is he going to go with us? He decides to stick in with us. We try and give him as much room as we possibly can, pushing track limits there a little bit, and we're going to keep on board with Lance Stroll looking at the back of this Manor Racing car. He pulls to the inside. Is he going to manage to get the job done before Parabolica? It looks like he is. We've got the outside line. Lance Stroll keeps the inside, and Lance Stroll is up into P14 after a decent start. We are back down to P15 early doors, and now we've got Nico Hülkenberg attacking us. We don't seem to have the pace early doors here, and we're burning all the ERS. It could be 3 wide going in to the first chicane. We managed to sit on the inside. We've got Lance Stroll in front of us. There's a little bit of a tap there, and we look at it from Hülkenberg's point of view, but we settle in to P15. Ollie Caldwell's down to P18 at the moment. He's battling with Lando Norris, who had that shocking start, remember. So on lap 2, it's Hamilton who leads from Perez. Caldwell down to P18. We're in P15. Join us back on lap 3, and we're on board with George Russell, who's looking at the back of Checo Perez. Perez and Leclerc fighting in front, and then George Russell tap on the back of that Red Bull, and that looks like George Russell has picked up a little bit of damage there. Is that going to cause him to pit? He's still looking to attack Checo Perez here. We can see that Perez has dropped back from Leclerc a little bit. Hamilton running off in the distance, 2.9 seconds now gap to Leclerc in second, but George Russell is going to be coming in to the pits, and I would suggest that that's going to mean a new front wing for the Mercedes. Let's just watch this as we see us now coming through on the right-hand side there, battling still with Nico Hülkenberg, but George Russell in for a new wing, and he's going to come out dead last. Meanwhile, that's promoted us to P14, and as we can see in front of us, we've got the Williams. We have a little bit of a tap with him, but we are just about keeping in touch and not damaging that front wing. Obviously, that front wing made in Sheffield is made of stern stuff at this moment in time. Albon in P13, Zhou Guanyu in P12, Hamilton gap to Leclerc, 3 seconds. Piastri's in the top 10 for the McLarens at this moment in time. Sainz in P6, so 2 Ferraris running 2nd and 6th at this moment in time on lap 4, Verstappen and Perez, P3 and 4. And coming on to lap 5, just have a little look at this. Max Verstappen, he's been absolutely swamped by a Alpine and Aston Martin, a Ferrari, and look at this going into turn 1. Is this going to be the craziest turn 1 at Monza we've seen? The Alpines of Ocon and Gasly managed to get him through. Verstappen is side by side with Fernando Alonso. Alonso's got the inside line, but Verstappen gets the better exit, and my word, what a moment for the two Alpines, Ocon and Gasly. I wish they could do this in my F1 manager save. You can go and watch that on the channel in a different playlist as well. Make sure you go and catch that. Shameless little plug there. Ocon and Gasly, the two Alpines, are up into P4 and P5. Verstappen lost DRS now as well in P6. We're still settling down in P14, and running dead last at the moment is George Russell. Remember, had to take that new front wing early doors, lap 6. And coming on to lap 7, we are getting within distance now of Hülkenberg, Zhou and Albon in front of us. We can see this battling going on all over here, but look at the speed we're carrying down this start-finish straight here. As we come into the first chicane, we're looking left and right. Where can we make a move? We're a bit later on the brakes, but we managed just about to get it stopped, and we overtake Albon and Hülkenberg at the first chicane. What a moment that is. That's possibly our best overtake ever on this F1 game. Up into P13. Unlucky for some, not for us. And coming on to lap 8, this race is really hotting up here. Look at this. We're fighting with Albon and Hülkenberg, and then in front of us we've got Bottas, Zhou, Lance Stroll even involved here. All the cars up to the points. We make another little dive there on Piastri. It's great work from us, and we are now behind Bottas and Zhou Guanyu. So we are really fighting at this moment in time with these guys for points. It wasn't the best Saturday qualifying, but it certainly is looking better on Sunday for us, and we can see the two Alfa Romeos in front of us, and we're having to exceptionally slow down to stop running into the back of them, sporting that Italian flag at the home Grand Prix. But we're running P12 at this moment in time. However, we are looking to box at the end of this lap onto the hard compound tyres to maybe try and get an undercut on these guys. At the front, we can see Hamilton leading by 4 seconds now. He's absolutely dominating this Grand Prix in Monza this afternoon. Leclerc P2, Perez P3. Perez very much in DRS range of the Ferrari. Then comes Gasly, Alonso nicely spaced out. Ocon 3 tenths behind Alonso. He's heading up a little bit of a train. Verstappen's included in that train, who's got Sainz and Stroll fighting behind him. Then comes Bottas, Zhou, and then as we just run it round this final corner, we're actually battling here with Albon, and we've had to go a little bit wide to give him the space. Remember, we need to cut across to get back into the pits. Piastri decides to sit in behind us, and we are going to come into the pits on lap 8 for our one and only pit stop. There was a 2-stop strategy available. We've gone for the 1 stop. Let's see where we end up coming out here, and if we get a decent pit stop. It looks like Lando Norris as well is into the box, so Norris is in at the same time as us, as we get a decent view of this pit stop onto the hard compound tyres, and it's a decent pit stop for us. Lando Norris out as well, but Lando Norris onto the medium compounder tyre, possibly making a 1-stop work on that tyre. So we will not have the tyres on Lando early doors here, but I would suspect by the end we should have the better tyres than Lando and hopefully manage to stay in front. That's the plan at least anyway. None of the front runners yet to pit. And coming on to lap 10, Lewis Hamilton is in, as I believe a couple of other cars are. Hamilton's in, he's going onto the medium compounder tyre. Gasly stays out, Leclerc's in as well. Is he going onto the medium? He certainly is. So at the moment, us going onto the hard compound has been a little bit different from a few other cars, as Stroll is battling away here with Carlos Sainz. But let's see where Hamilton comes out here. We can see Sargent and Magnussen going past him. Is he going to get out in front of Nick De Vries? It looks like he is, so he's going to get a little bit of clear air. Hopefully he's not going to get held up by Magnussen and Sargent too much, but these guys can't be too far away from pitting, so Hamilton out into P9. Leclerc sits in behind Nick De Vries. Meanwhile, the pit stops that's happening at the back, Bottas, if you remember, was in front of us. He's come out behind us by quite some distance, and we are in front of both McLarens now, Lando and Piastri. We've got Ocon in front of us as well as Alonso, so that's not gone too badly for us at all. Up into P16 with a few pit stops still to go. And coming on towards lap 11, we can see in front of us, we've got Oscar Piastri. He's managed to get past us on the medium compounded tyre, but we're burning away down now. We've got Alexander Albon keeping us very, very honest to the inside. We blitz on the brakes. We've got confidence into turn 1, it must be said, getting the car stops, and then we can now sit in behind Lance Stroll, but we don't seem to have the pace on these hards, which we did on the medium compounded tyre. So a little bit of concern there for us. Hülkenberg's yet to pit, hence why he's in the lead. Hamilton gap to Leclerc is over 5 seconds now, so Hamilton looks like it's his race to lose. We're struggling to keep pace with Lance Stroll at this moment in time. We've had a little bit of an off here and there, but we're doing okay at the moment. Lap 11, we're in P12. And on lap 12, Hülkenberg, one of the last ones to pits, he's going to come out around Zhou Guanyu in P16. We're just about hanging onto the back of Lance Stroll at the moment, but we can't keep pace, and he's just about to break the DRS. I'm a little bit concerned about Norris behind us as well. I don't think we've got the pace for points today. That's a disappointing thing for us. Max Verstappen, though, is going to be as disappointed as anyone at the moment, because he's been fighting with Alonso all afternoon, and he's still looking at the back of that Aston Martin. We'll ride on board from the cockpit view of Max Verstappen down this DRS straight. Will he be able to make a move here on Fernando Alonso? He goes to the outside, and it's job done down the DRS straight for Max Verstappen. Verstappen up into 6th place. There's overtakes galore happening, and this time it's Fernando Alonso with the aid of DRS onto lap 13. He comes back at Max Verstappen. Max Verstappen can just not break away from this Aston Martin, and as he does that, Ocon gets in front of Sainz as well, but then locks up, goes a little bit deep, and Carlos Sainz will have the run on him out of the chicane, gets the better run. Sainz back up into 8th, Ocon 9th. We can't keep pace with Lance Stroll. 1.6 seconds now is the gap to the Canadian driver. Lando Norris is now within DRS, and that is looking particularly ominous for us in the Manor Racing car at this moment in time. We've got 2 very quick McLarens at this moment behind us on better tyres. Lap 13. And coming towards the end of lap 13, we've got Lando Norris all over us now. As we ride back on board from our point of view, we realise he's quicker than us, and we try as we run wide there as well. Not particularly good driving from us. Lando Norris is quicker, and now Piastri as well, all over the back of us. We're thinking, can we latch onto a bit of DRS here to try and keep up with these guys and defend from the guys behind them? We've got the inside line in to Parabolica. Coming out of there onto the start-finish straight, we are going to get DRS to help us defend, but as we come on towards lap 14, Verstappen and Alonso still exchanging places. Alexander Albon took a really wild line there, maybe avoiding contact, and we've got to go again and try and defend here. These 2 guys side by side behind us. We're decent into this chicane. We have been all afternoon, and these 2 guys battling is going to help us slightly as we start to see a gap forming between ourselves and Alexander Albon and Piastri as we break away with Lando Norris. But yeah, not ideal at all. On lap 14, the most comfortable man in Italy at the moment is Lewis Hamilton. Nearly 7 seconds now, the gap to Charles Leclerc. And coming on towards lap 17, we can see Lance Stroll, Carlos Sainz, Esteban Ocon all going at it down this start-finish straight. Lando Norris, I believe that is, joining the party as well. He's now into P11 still. It's a real battle going on, and meanwhile this battle's going on, we're sitting in behind as well. In terms of Piastri and Zhou, who have both managed to overtake us on that start-finish straight. We straight away look to get past Zhou Guanyu here. Zhou Guanyu actually forces us wide a little bit of a tap there, and now we can see in front of us we've got Piastri braking on. We chuck it around the outside there, try and maintain our line, give him as much space as we possibly can. We're back up into P13, but do I reckon we're going to be able to catch Oscar Piastri at this moment? It's debatable. Lap 17. And this is it then, coming on to the final lap of the Grand Prix. Lewis Hamilton's got it done and dusted. Perez is in P2, but it's Alonso versus Verstappen like it has been all afternoon. Alonso goes to the inside. He'll have the outside line coming out of the chicane. Now let's have a look who gets the better exit here. It looks like it's going to be Fernando Alonso, who's side by side between these 2. Anyone's guess who it is. Leave a note down in the comments. Which one of these guys do you think is going to end up P6 here? But we're going to run with this battle, it's practically job done for us. We don't seem to be able, while these two have just gone in formation a little moment, we're a little bit too far back from Oscar Piastri to make a move here. But it's back to this battle between Verstappen and Alonso. Alonso we will ride on board with down this DRS straight. Will he manage to get a move done on Verstappen when that DRS becomes active? Here we go. Will he move to the inside? Will he move? He won't. He'll stick behind him. Verstappen defending quite well there. Will he manage to do it out of here? Let's have a little look. Fernando Alonso, the distance is 2 tenths. He's getting a decent tow from the back of that Red Bull. And now Fernando Alonso moves to the inside. Verstappen squeezes him a little bit. We're going to move to the television camera. But Max Verstappen looks like he might have just done enough. Will he manage to get P6? I'm suggesting he might, although Alonso going down the outside line, it's going to be practically a photo finish, but Verstappen manages to get it done. Sainz drops to P11. We are in P13, and unfortunately that's as much as we're going to get today. But Hamilton, what a drive from him. Let's get to the podium.
Great use of the clear air today and didn't allow anyone to exploit the slipstream behind them. What a great win here at Monza. Tell me, Ant, how do you think they were able to deliver such an incredible result today?
Well, they certainly stood out as a driver with tons of confidence on the track. I think their ability to keep their cool, even during some of the more hectic parts of the race, meant they were able to capitalise on the mistakes of other drivers, giving them the opportunity to make their way to the top spot with ease.
After an excellent performance at the Grand Prix, I'm sure there'll be plenty of celebrations tonight amongst the Mercedes team, and they certainly deserve.
So there we have it then, Lewis Hamilton winning the Grand Prix. Great work from him here at Monza. Looks like Checo Perez getting the P2 and it's Carlos Sainz in P3. Great work from Lewis Hamilton once again, keeping Red Bull honest, it must be said, as we go towards the closing stages of this season. Nice to see 3 different teams in the top 3 as well, so fair play to Lewis Hamilton. And let's have a look at the final standings. And there we have it then, the full classification. Lewis Hamilton wins as we saw. Perez in P2, Leclerc P3, Russell P4, Gasly P5, Verstappen only P6. Alonso and Stroll in P7 and 8, so good points for Aston Martin. Ocon P9, Lando Norris gets some points from McLaren in P10. We finish P13, not quite on the pace of the top 10 today, but not miles off. Albon and Hulkenberg kept us very honest. Ollie Caldwell all the way down in P21 at last place for him. If we have a look at the standings, driver standings wise, Max Verstappen's lead is cut. It's now only 23 points to Lewis Hamilton and 25 points to Checo Perez. So the drivers standings really hotting up here for this drivers championship. We stay in P11. Constructors standings wise, Red Bull on 411, gap cut to 72. So Mercedes still in the fight for both drivers standings and constructors standings. We stay in P7, and Alpine scored some points, so they extend their lead in P6. I hope you've enjoyed that. We will be back to each Friday now. Like I said, it's been a difficult week, a couple of weeks even, so I shall see you on the next one. Please like and subscribe. Ta-ra.